Okay, so I'm going to start off with saying until the end of November, you've got to apply to a help to buy ISA, and you don't have to use it within that month, but you've got 10 years to then use, and the government will give you 25% extra of whatever you've saved on the purchase of a home price. So, if you've got a limited amount of time to do it. Not on that. Not on that. Just, if you want that, you got a limited time to do it. Okay, so we're going to go into a lot of things. Obviously, I've not done an update in a while. Now, there was the previous upstairs tenants who used to stay up all night making ridiculous noise, not letting me sleep. It took like 2 years to get all that sorted. And then I had some time where I've been productive and been healthy and, not had any of those problems. And then they put the new tenant in, and he started off by doing all that nonsense again. And it's like they literally went out of their way to have literally all the same nonsense. Bin bags piling up the sides of the house, not getting put out, staying up all night, screaming, stomping into the floor and making ridiculous noise, and it wasn't good. And obviously I complained about it, and they didn't even want to investigate. They discriminated against me for having had mental health issues in the past, which, being manic depressive, I think I've got good reasons for having had problems, especially with having had my benefits illegally withheld for 9 months and been made homeless and then taken 4 years to rehome me. Yeah, I might have a few reasons to have mental health problems, and I've also been dubbed a serial complainer because I had to complain from the do anything about the previous upstairs tenants and about the bin bags that got piled up to like literally person height mountains of bin bags getting ripped open by the rats that it was attracting before they did anything, and that took like a year of complaining about the bins before they even sorted that shit out. And, there's been a lot of issues that I've had that the council will ignore, and, because I'm a council tenant, they're my landlords, but they will actually ignore them to the point that you have to complain and push and complain, otherwise they will not do anything about it and they won't respond. And the same with the DWP, they ignored the issues and they ignored the things, and that's how my housing benefits ended up getting withheld for 9 months until I was made homeless. So, I've got a few reasons to have to complain. It's not that I'm just a needless complainer, it's that I've got actual legitimate reasons to complain, but they've ignored. So, it's been a bit of a mess. And because they were ignoring this and just discriminating against my mental health, I complained to the MP, and then they're like, why are you complaining to all these other places? And it's like, because you're not actually investigating. And the guy that came, Jimmy Simpson, actually refused to talk to the upstairs tenant, refused flat out, and was blank blaming my mental health. And then because I complained to the MP, he actually eventually, like 2 months or something into this new tenant being in, I had a word with him, and then there was like, oh yeah, the upstairs tenant has admitted to causing these antisocial noise and causing these problems. And it's like, yeah, no shit. And they were trying to state that I was imagining it, that I was imagining these noises, that it was all in my head, that I must be insane. And before that, he was saying, oh, before we can speak to the upstairs tenant, we need to speak to you, just to get the details from you. And then he came, and then with a smug grin on his face, was like, yeah, we're not going to talk to them. It's like, and then he started accusing me of where the upstairs tenant's part of the garden is severely overgrown, and they were supposed to do it from the previous tenant having left it to an overgrown state. And I was like, with the smug grin, it's actually your half. But literally weeks before that, I'd had council people coming round to assess the gardens, and they said that the front garden is the upstairs tenant's share, and it's either 100% their share, or it's, as previously agreed, 50% mine, where it's nice and tidy and has some flowers growing, and then it's like a huge overgrowth for the other 50%. But no, he was just like, with the smug grin, it's your responsibility. And it's like, oh, fuck you. You're just saying that because it's overgrown and you want something to attack me with because I've put complaints in against the upstairs tenant, where it was legitimate complaints. Thankfully, after getting the MP involved and all that, even though they've still got all this nonsense of saying I'm a serial complainer, they had a word with the upstairs tenants, and finally they stopped for the most part. At least it's not at night. You know, there's been 2 instances in the past month of him freaking out and screaming and shouting. Literally sounds like a lunatic going, "Ree!" And, you know, also going, "What the fuck, boys?" Just because I was streaming a karaoke singing. It wasn't even that loud, but you know, and I turned on the TV to watch The Flash the other week, and he's just stomping into the floor and shouting through the entire thing, so I had to turn my TV up to hear it, because you couldn't hear it over him stomping and shouting. So, you know, there's a few issues, but at least I'm able to sleep at night and be productive now, and healthier! And I started losing weight again because I'm able to sleep and be healthier! So, you know, I'm getting back in shape and getting healthier and happier, and not being drained and severely depressed and, you know, in all this nonsense shit, but having to fight all of this, it's been a nightmare. And, you know, the fact that they've discriminated against me was bullshit. But when he did that, you know, when he was having that smug grin, and it was just like, yeah, I'm trapped in this nightmare and you're not even going to do anything about it, I started looking for any escape from this property. And, you know, I'm just a poor boy from a poor family. Yeah, no, I can't afford, because rental prices in this country are ridiculous, so I can't afford the proper rental market, especially with the way that benefits work, and, you know, there's no jobs going, so you can't find a job to get the money to pay the bills. So I started looking, you know, is there literally any escape? And I saw, randomly, somehow, a property listed for £5,000 for a really nice bungalow, so no upstairs tenant, definitely never going to have any sort of issue with nightmare neighbours or paper thin ceilings, which there are, because the council just don't want to make the ceiling. You can literally hear any conversation, and that's probably why the upstairs tenant freaks out with any noise, because you can just hear it as though, you know, it's basically on the same floor. It just sounds like it's in a room next to you. That's how paper thin the ceilings are. In fact, it's actually more audible than a next door room, because that's how thin the ceilings are. But yeah, I saw this property listed for that £5,000, and I thought, well, you know, there's a possibility, you know, if it goes around that, I could get that together, never have to pay rent again, sorted. But, you know, let's just go into the Bond Wolf auctions, and let's see how sort of prices they actually went for, because their sales prices, they listed with the estimates, encouraging people to go in, shall we say. Okay, so the first property is like 100,000 guide, sold for 220,000. Next property, 100,000 guide, sold for 300,000. And then, you know, one sold beforehand. 250,000 auction property sold for 660k. Rich people have a lot of money. If only. 250 for 430, and then 500k for 770k. Sold prior. Okay, and then 29 to 34,000. Do you think that sounds reasonable for an ordinary person? Sold for 142k. You know, and then 100k, 193, 85k, 232k. Sold for 50k, 145k. It sold for 20k. Again, you know, that sounds like, you know, someone could have chance. 110k. 34k, sold for 98k. 39k, sold for 93,000. 25,000, sold for £170,000, that property. 40,000 went for 85, 50,000 for 131, 44,000 for 80k, 40,000 for 130k, 50 for 115, 105 for a 29k listed one, 74 for 182, 75 for 167, 50k for 130k adverts, 50k for 118, 50k for 116, 50k for 130k. You get the picture. Okay, let's find a really cheap one, because these are all a 1.1 million one unsold. That was a miracle. Okay, so there's a 9 to 14,000 pound property here. You think, if you got that sort of money, it sold for £75,500. That's a lot above that estimate, and then 44k for 187 again. Some that sold prior. Okay, so there's one for 95k that sold for 104,000. That's sort of at the guide price. Another cheap one, so 14 to 19,000 pounds, sold for 85,000 pounds. That's, you think there's a chance. 24k for 48, 25k for 66, 28k on solds, but it's only land. It got up to £20,000 bidding, but it's lands that you probably can't even build on. There's no right. Okay, 25,000. It sold for £133,000. and then everything's just ridiculously above. But yeah, the £5,000 property. Obviously, I'm not on the page yet. That I wanted. Okay, so there's a £14,000 to £19,000 nice property sold for £92,000. I mean, it sold for a reasonable price. It's reasonable, it's just, I don't have that money. Oh yeah, it's 68. It sold for £52,000. Which, it's a nice old little bungalow property there, and I would have loved that. And the size, it's a nice little length, and there's a nice paved back garden, and it's got the front garden again equal size to the house front and back. So it was on a big parcel land. So that's understandable, but still, it's ridiculous the prices that all of these things went for. So. Oops. We could never afford that. So, at this point I was still going through all the nightmares, so I looked up other ways. And then I found out that if you're a council property, you have the right to buy. I always knew that. But what I didn't know is that you get a discount based on how many years you've lived in council or housing association properties. So after 5 years with a house, you get 35% off and you gain 1% per year. With a flat, you get 50% off and an extra 2% for every additional year after 5 years. And so that means that up to a maximum of 70%. If it counts the years that they made me homeless, so I should be at 70%. If not, I'm around 60% saving, and because it's a flat, and it's a shit flat, and the property prices are cheap, like the actual housing, full houses are like 80k. So a flat, you think, would be 40k, and with the 70% saving, that should take it down to like, I don't know, 10,000, no, like 13,000, I don't know. Either way, cheap, but it would mean I'm still stuck in this nightmare. But there's thick tiles of insulation that, if I own the property, I can buy. It'd probably take like £9,000 to isolate the ceiling and, have it done properly and all of that. But still, it's a possibility. It's just a nightmare, and having the funds to be able to do all that to just end the nightmare, it's an option. I'd have rather had that lovely £5,000 house that sold for £52,000. That would have been ideal. I could have just moved straight in. It would have been perfect. This property is a bit of a nightmare. It's damp, the water seeps through the floors. I've had to put isolation between the flooring and all that, and there's a ton of nightmares with this property, and the gas leaks from the gas meter, so you have to isolate it every time you're not using it, and then when you do, it just smells, so you don't have the heating on for long, and then if you do put the heating on, the upstairs tenant freaks out, stomps about, flips open every single window. Oh, it's the same nightmare as the previous tenant. It's literally, they picked another insane alcoholic who wants to stay up all night and stomp about and be a retard and sleep through the daytime. And it's almost as though they've picked exactly the same nightmare problems, and then they've tried to blame me for having, the same problematic tenant again. And I don't know, it's just a right old nightmare. So, that's an option with the right to buy, and with the help to buy ISA. If you save, you can only save up to £200 per month, but essentially you're getting £50 free every month that you save from the government, and they do owe me. So there's possibilities, and maybe I can end all this nightmare. But hey, I'm healthier and I can start doing content again now that they're preventing, because now that they've actually stopped the nightmare tenant being antisocial and had words with him. But oh my god, why couldn't they just ask him in the first place? Literally the first day that I reported the issue, they should have spoke to the upstairs tenant. They could have put a stop to it immediately. No, I had to go through all the people and complain until they finally spoke to him. And then they're like, oh, yeah, he is causing problems. And no apology for them blaming my mental health or accusing me and being dickheads. It feels like they still want to because of the way that they respond and act. It feels like they still want to pursue me, and like they're trying to evict me for having suffered these problems. And if they do, then obviously I would sue them, because the way that they've acted with this case. So I've got complaints with the ombudsman about this because of the way that they've dealt with this situation and accusing my mental health and discriminating against me, and that's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. But we're on the path to hopefully trying to somehow buy this property and get the roofing done so that it's isolated, because the council actively refuses it every time. But it definitely needs it, especially with the way that the upstairs tenant still freaks out. It's like he's on the verge of just having a meltdown and just freaking out and preventing me sleeping again. And it's been a nightmare that I've been through for the past couple of years, having to go through that with the previous tenants. I don't want to have to go through it again with the new tenant, and they were accusing me because the previous tenants also had those problems, so they're accusing me, and it's like, but now that they've spoke to him, they know that it's him, but it's still not right, and it's still not good. So I feel like it's a nightmare here, and I'd rather have house that I'm not stuck in those nightmares. But if I can do it up, or you've then got 5 years that you have to own the property before you can then resell it without losing the discount. So that would also be an option, like 5 years later of suffering to sell the property and then buy somewhere else cheap. That's not a nightmare, but the prices that things are going for, again, even turning money into bigger money, if it is 40k that the property's worth or something, that's not enough to really get anywhere. So that doesn't really help me escape that much either. So but I will try and do more vlogs and do more things, and I've been catching up on the reviews and doing some things. I'm thinking of doing like a 12 days of Christmas with the single play reviews, and writing up nice reviews for some of the single play videos for like the first 12 days of Christmas, with each going live on the website. And I've been doing things on Twitch and updating things on Twitch, and you can see when I'm in a good mood and you can see when I'm depressed, and often I'm probably more depressed lately, or I had been, and there was a nice day and I was really happy, and then I got my first subscriber, Official Hope, on Twitch on the day that I was really happy. But then it's just like doubts and stuff going through my mind, and like some of the ways that some of the people that were coming in were just demanding on things was, it was like, play Migos, sing Migos, sing Migos. Stuff. What the hell's Migos? And it's like La Bamba, which I'd already sang the week before and the week before that, and put a duet for, and I regret, if that's what's drawing in these demanding people, I regret singing La Bamba, because I don't speak that language, and I struggled. but, you know, I want to have fun. I don't want to have moaning and constant demands. So, you know, if I've said no, and I've said no repeatedly, and I've said it's not on there, and they're still demanding it, and sing with me, it's like, just chill. So, you know, I'm being harsher with my exclamation point join now to make sure, you know, that's the only way you get requests, and only subscribers can request something I'm not happy with singing or I don't know. It's a subscriber perk. So, you know, if you want to subscribe on Twitch, then, you know, you're more than welcome to. If you're just a regular person, or even someone that's never been before, because these were people that had not even been before to my channel, you know, you can't be demanding like that. And some of these people were being offensive to some of the people I was singing with as well. So, you know, that's a no-go. And then someone on Friday with my variety live streams when I was doing Rainbow Six Siege, he claims after, you know, I pushed him that he was calling Capcom ugly, but, you know, and he wanted me to play with him. It's like, and then I was feeling shit after that as well. So, you know, it's like, I don't want to deal with people being negative and shit. So, you know, you're likely to get blocked or banned or timed out or ignored. So, you know, no negativity, because I don't need it in my life right now. I don't need that in my life right now. I cut someone out of my life who I was talking to barely. It was just, we met up and then she was just moaning and moaning and moaning. It's like, I don't need this in my life right now. You know, I even gave her a chance. I gave her a chance, but she just wants to moan and moan and moan. It's like, oh my fucking god, I'm out. I'm done. I'm out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out. So I left. And she was not happy about that. But, you know, I told her, just, you know, we can have nice conversations. We can have nice talks. You know, we can play games. I ain't about this moaning. So yeah, anyway, that's my update, and yeah, so hopefully I'll try and do this place up, and, you know, hopefully there's a lot of problems. Like, there's damp in the roof in the kitchen from where it leaked, and the council didn't repair it properly. You know, they patched the holes, it looks like shit on the roof, but the walls that were falling apart from where the water was seeping in through the leaking ceiling is still all away from the ceiling. They didn't dry out the ceiling, so it went all black and mouldy. They never did anything about that when I reported that needing repairing. So, yeah. And like I said, the water damp seeping through the floor that I've had to put foam isolation through, and there's not even a fucking drain at the front of the property, the gas leaking meter. There's a good chance that they would have to do significant additional discounts on top of the 60 or 70% discount that I should get. And yeah, there's a chance that this property could end up going down to like £3,000 or £4,000 to get. And then that's within the realm of possibility to get. And on the pro-government saving side, essentially, you're not paying housing benefit for me then, because, you know, I would just own it outright, and then I wouldn't be having to pay rent, which is a bonus for me as well, because rent is slavery. I mean, especially in this country, it's like 50% of your paycheck, if not more, goes to rent, and, you know, that also means that the number of hours that I would need to get, because I'm not listening to any of the bullshit that they say when they're like, oh yeah, but you can take the part-time job and we'll only reduce it a part of your... No, you were legally without my housing benefit for 9 months when you claimed that last time, and, you know, I lost my home and it took me 4 years to rehome me. I ain't going through that shit again. So I ain't listening to that bullshit when they say that. Which means I have to have a specific number of hours to be able to pay rent and pay the bills and these, and travel to the work. So, you know, that limits the number of jobs that I can take, especially when most things are like part-time and not full-time. But being free from rent would mean that I'm no longer a slave. I'm a free man. I was be a landowner, essentially, but, you know, that's not the point. The point is that I would not have to pay rent, which would mean that the bills that I would have to pay are significantly lower, and the time that I would need to work to pay for like the internet, electric, gas, food, water, TV license is much lower, significantly lower. So I could pretty much just take any job at that point, and then it wouldn't even matter, I mean, if there's a bit of reduction on the benefits, so be it. But I wouldn't even need benefits at that point then, would I really? If I could just get any job and then, work any job for any number of hours and be able to pay the bills. And I'd be so much freer to work and have jobs and do anything, I wouldn't have to find specific jobs that can pay the bills with enough hours. I'd be free to take any job, and, 0 hours contracts would be no problem because, I'm not at risk of being made homeless, I could, there's often a surplus in that instance if I wouldn't have to be paying rent of money, some weeks you might get more, some weeks you might have no work, but it would be fine because it would be acceptable. And that's why the universal credit's also terrible in 0 hours contracts, because it's not for the week that you work, it's for the whole month. So, they just take away the whole month. So if there's a week where you're not getting any work, you don't get your benefits for that week. It's kind of screwy. So universal credit, a big mess that I'm not going into. But yeah, we're ending this video. We're not ranting anymore, but lots of issues, lots of problems, but if I didn't have to pay rent, then I'd be free. And, that would grant me a lot of freedom. And then I'd be able to take any job, like I say. And, it would actually be so liberating. And they're thinking of getting rid of the right to buy and the right to buy discount. Like, they're complaining about it so much in Parliament and on TV politics shows. I've seen it, and they act like it's such a big drain that people get the right to buy, and but if they do buy it, they come off the housing benefit, and it saves the government money because whilst they're renting it out and paying the housing benefit, I mean, maybe it gets recycled back into the government, I don't know. It's just a messy system in that instance, but if they're not having to pay the housing benefit, that's a big saving off the government tax, and then they're also increasing my ability to take jobs. So it's just smart to allow people to have the right to be free from the slavery of the benefit system and all of this, because you are being hampered and held back and held in slavery in those instances, but they want to abolish the right to buy and the right to buy discount, which most people don't even hear of. So that's probably why they're not telling you about all of this, because they don't want people to take it. But and then obviously they get the money from the purchase to reinvest in new properties. They're meant to be building new properties. They don't. They could build them fairly cheaply. There's like land that was for sale on the auctions, and again the council would have the ability to rewrite the land conditions themselves to make it so that they can build on those lands if need be. But it's all a big mess. But hopefully I'll be able to be free from slavery and free from the nightmare. Like I said, for the moment it's okay. The council have had words with him, he's stopped being a dick, we're able to sleep at night and be rested and healthy and happy. So, the odd time that he freaks out when I'm watching TV or streaming and making some noise, it's not the ends of the world. If it keeps up with that, then it's okay, and I wouldn't need to put the noise isolation, but there's the impending dread that I feel like something's going to go wrong, or like they've been attacking me for having put complaints in about the council, like they want to evict me, so and it's bullshit reasons that they're looking for. They just look for any reason to attack me for having put in legitimate complaints that they've ignored, and having pursued legitimate complaints that they've ignored, and complained about the discrimination that I faced, because even with the last tenant, they were discriminating against my mental health forever before they did anything. So yeah, it's been bullshit what I've been going through, and you know, I've resisted going into it in videos, and I've resisted going into it in gaming videos, you know, whilst I've been streaming or anything, because I know people don't want to hear about all of the nightmares and shit that I'm going through, but I've been going through a lot, so you know, maybe I'm a bit short-tempered with a lot of people, but you know, I'm pretty frayed at the edges. I'm pretty frayed and fragile right now, so you know, with everything that I've been going through, I just need to relax and cut all the nonsense out for now, and you know, just have good times and fun and good people, which is why it was nice to have, you know, a lovely person come along complimenting me on my singing, and you know, subscribing and providing a lot of bits and having a fun stream with that person. So you know, it was nice. I don't want to have people bringing up memories of exes and nightmares and all of this shit, and you know, bringing up the upstairs tenants all the time. I just want to, you know, I'm streaming and playing to escape all that. I don't want to have to keep going into that. I'm sorry, Troll Hunter, but you know, I don't want to have to go into that all the time and every single stream have it brought up. You know, I'm trying to have fun and happy streams right now, so you are welcome coming along. It's just, oh my god, you have to keep bringing it up all the time. You know, they've ended the nightmare now, for now, hopefully forever. But yeah, anyway, we're done. This is going on forever. Bye bye. See you next time.